Well, I'm Buck Brannaman. I live in Sheridan, Wyoming.
Sort of complement what your hands do. Most people are way too handsy the way they ride. They rely so much on their arms and hands, and they're not utilizing kind of the rest of what they have to offer.
Well, I'm doing a couple of horsemanship classes. I've been coming basically to this area for, I bet 25 years now. So a lot of people still interested. There'll be 2 classes a day. We start at 9 in the morning, then go till noon, and then 1:30 to 4:30 every day, and we finish up Monday night.
Okay, and what lessons did you touch on today?
Well, you start off with kind of basic horsemanship, fundamentals, and then it's just progressive each day as they get to where they can do some movements, and that's starting to be correct, then I just make it a little bit more difficult as we go.
Until you've worked your way down to 4, maybe 5 hairs.
I watched an interview on you and you were relating horse training to raising a child. I thought that was pretty interesting. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, you know, a lot of people have said that through learning things about the horses and working with horses that they found that there was a lot of parallels between that and being a parent, raising kids, and which is really for example, the documentary that was out on me a couple of years ago. There were tons of people that came to my clinics after that didn't even have horses, but they were interested in the whole psychology of working with horses and interested in ways that they thought maybe they could apply that to other things in their life. And it's most certainly true. And I had told them when they started to do the documentary, I said, so long as your goal is to be able to relate to everyone, not just horse people. So the horse is really sort of a vehicle to maybe help us learn some things about ourselves.
Speaking of the film, how has the film affected your life?
Not really. You know, it's been an awful lot the same as years ago when I did The Horse Whisperer with Bob Redford. Everybody thought that my life was going to change. And, you know, it's a movie. And the documentary was certainly a lot more meaningful because it's all true and it's real life. And there was a message in there that I hoped would be maybe helpful to people who are struggling in their life as well. So in that it fulfilled its purpose, but it hasn't changed me at all. You know, you don't want to become delusional about those kind of things. And to me, I think the biggest mistake you can make if for some reason some notoriety comes to you, be careful you don't start believing your own press.
When I guide with my legs, I swing every foot and drop it.
I know everybody's falling off the horse, but has there ever been a time there it's just been like, I don't want to deal with horses anymore?
No.
But then you went,
No, but I'm not the type of person to quit. All I've ever wanted to be was a good hand with horses. It's always been my passion. And there are heartaches and frustrations and disappointments. That's just goes along with it. Anytime you're studying something that you want to become an art form, that it means that much to you, there's going to be disappointment. But I've never quit anything I've ever done in my life, so I certainly wouldn't start now.
how'd you start off with horses?
Well, I grew up riding horses because I was an entertainer. I was a trick roper as a kid. As a matter of fact, years ago, I was first time I was ever on TV doing rope tricks. There was a show in Spokane called the Starlit Stairway, and it was sort of a little talent show that they would have, and I think it was once a week. I can't remember now. It's been a lot of years ago. But that was sort of my first time on the stage, and all these years later, I still see people that remember that after all these years. But I started out riding because of the trick roping, but I didn't become really interested in becoming a horseman until I went to live with my foster parents when I was 12. And then I really developed a passion in a hurry about working with horses and for working with them. And I've been chasing it ever since. I'm a lot better than when I started, but there's hopefully I'll be around long enough to really get to where I'd like to be.
And is your family involved with horses?
Yeah, my wife, she likes to ride. Doesn't ride as much now, but she's at home at the ranch and takes care of a lot of horses. But the youngest daughter, Riata, she's a good hand. And for 19 years old, she's just has some amazing ability. But she's never known anything but quality riding, so she didn't pick up a lot of bad habits. And boy, she's handy. And she loves to rope and work cattle too, and she can out-rope most men. She's a handy kid, which is really fun for the ladies to see her, because when they see this 19-year-old girl that's better than all the men, they think, that's what I want to be like. So it's pretty fun to see.
She has competitions and everything?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, in fact, she's competing this weekend back in Montana at a ranch roping contest, and it's funny. At first, they weren't too interested in roping with a girl, you know, because of the whole macho thing. Well, now she's won enough that when she shows up, they all flock to her trailer to try to partner up with the roping. So it's pretty fun.
You get to go to much for competitions this
Yeah,
year?
I do a bit. I haven't been to much this year, but we're putting on a big ranch-style roping in California, in Santa Ynez in October, which will be kind of fun because we're doing it sort of like a pro-am golf tournament. So I have a pool of pros that will be there that are wolfy, good ropers. And then there'll be 2 amateurs that will come, and they'll draw their pro when they get there. So it'll be a chance for amateur ropers to rope with the guys that are great ropers. So it'll be fun.
Kind of first of its kind thing?
It is, yeah, it is. I've been wanting to do it for years because I have a lot of friends in Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California that are real good Riata ropers, which is a little different style than what you see in the rodeos. And we talked about doing a pro-am thing, so it was more inclusive, you know, that it wasn't just something that really great ropers showed up to compete, that it kind of brought some guys along that are practicing, trying to get handy. So should be fun.
And you yourself have put this on, or?
Yeah, I'm putting it on, and then I'll rope in it too as well. I'm not going to travel that far and not rope myself. So.
All right. And when can we expect to see you back at the horse show?
Well, probably be back next summer again. Most of the places I go, it's kind of a once-a-year deal because I cover 35, 40 states a year. And then I go to Italy and New Zealand and Australia and Germany this fall. So I get around quite a bit. I do all the overseas stuff kind of in my spare time in the winter when I'm supposed to be off. Now it's pretty much just year-round. I'm traveling, going somewhere.
So you go to all those places for horse training? That's
yeah,
awesome.
It's hard to believe that a fella can travel all over the world and his only job is to ride horses and help people with their horses. I'm so blessed to get to do that for a living, because nowadays horses are a hobby for most people. There's still some people that make their living on a horse and cowboy for a living, but for the most part it's an interest, you know, for people that's more of a hobby. But they love their horses, and they love the idea of educating a horse and trying to get a horse handy and maneuverable and well educated without being troubled. And that's sort of been the new thing in the last 30, 40 years, is rather than just kind of roughing horses up and making them be a certain way, that you think of them as a partner, and it's a whole different interest than what it was years ago when I grew up doing this.
It's more of a love kind of thing instead of being a rough.
Yeah, and yet it's, in that respect, the horses are an awful lot like kids. You need them to be obedient. You need them to be respectful, and they need to learn how to kind of fit in and become a good citizen. No different than how you'd hope that your kid would work out. Although some of the travels that I get around, I see some kids and I think, you should get to a clinic or do something. But there's hope.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
How was Buck's clinic today?
Excellent. fabulous.
What'd you learn at the clinic?
We learned we don't know as much as we thought we did. That's for sure.
I've been watching his film and audited quite a few of these, so it wasn't all startling new. You can never hear it enough.
I'm Buck Brannaman, and I love INTV.